back to Zen Perry Project, everybody. Today on the show, we have Mel, FRANCIE MOON, GUSTAF, and also Crusasis.
Mhm.
Is there
Yeah.
any bands that you're in right now?
No, that's good. There's like secret stuff, but not really. That,
I I,
that's
I
pretty
figured
good. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And I first saw you at Wonderville, which was a funny video game bar.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. And you were opening up with Crusasis. Yeah, and you
hmm
murdered it on drums, and then I was like, I gotta talk to you afterwards, and then we just kind of ran into each other. And then I found out that you were playing with Gustav, and that you also opened for one of my favorite shows I've ever seen, which is Idols, back
Yeah.
in 2021 at the Warfield in SF.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh. Yeah, I know we had like a ton of coincidences that day.
yeah,
Like,
that's
whoa,
super,
no way, no way.
that was
Oh,
super cool. I mean, and so I mean, how? Let's just. I have a bunch of things to ask you, but let's just start off with Gustav. How did you get in the band? What was that all like? I mean, you guys have been playing together for like what, 12 years now?
Gustav, no. Gustav's been started in 2018
Okay.
and I joined in 2019 and it's a little bit of a story, but long story short, their old drummer, their first drummer, Angela, she needed to run off from a tour because she was, I think, trying to become a dual citizen with here and Italy, and they called her for the interview that she needed to do, and it was really important, so she had to leave the tour. And Gustav called me randomly while I was like literally at the LA airport about to go to Mexico on like my solo journey of my life. Like, I'm just gonna go take off and, for who knows how long. Like, I had no idea. I think I paid my rent for like 3 months and just left and was like, we'll see what happens. And as I was at this airport, I got this text like, "Hey, you want to come on tour next week?" And I was like, "What?" Like, I'm literally going to Mexico, but they're like, "Oh, it'll be so fun. We'll, it'll start in New Orleans, and we'll bring you there." And yeah. Long story short, I decided to do both. I decided to do the tour, and then when I was done with the tour, I went back to Mexico and did my journey thing, and then I was kind of the touring drummer for a good while because I live outside of the city. So like Gustav, they were just playing with all different kinds of people, and I would just be the one who went on tour. And then 2020, early 2020, we got a record deal, and then it was like, okay, are you in or are you out? Like, are you the full-time drummer or not? And I was like, okay. So that's the long story boiled down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if the old drummer's in Italy now.
I don't know where she is. I don't know, but I'm
Oh,
I'm
hoping the
grateful
best
for
for her.
her. What?
Yeah. Hoping the best for her.
Yeah, yeah, same.
I was
Same,
just
same.
looking into my dual citizenship. I like hit up my dad the other day. I was like, I mean, it might not be a bad time. I mean, grandma's from Italy. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's rad. And you enjoy touring with this is like the biggest project you've played with before, I'm assuming. So
Yes.
like
Yes.
how was it just like kind of getting whisked away and just starting to do that? Did it change up your life significantly? What were you kind of what were the biggest changes that kind of happened for you?
Yeah. So, in the beginning it kind of felt normal. The only difference is I never toured much as a drummer before. As you said, I'm in Francie Moon. I'm like the singer, songwriter, band leader, whatever you want to call it. Um, so it was very interesting that I got that text being like, "Do you want to play drums?" Because for years I was just known as a guitar player. But the reason I got asked was because I think Rom mentioned it. He's a guitar player in Gustav. Me and him go way back, like at least 10 years now, and we've played in so many different projects in so many different ways. And he saw me play drums before, like once for like 30 seconds. He saw me kind of like explain something because his brother was playing drums for some of my songs, and I remember I was like, "Let me just sit down and show you." And I played something, so Rom knew in the back of his head that I played drums. But I think most importantly, I was the only person that they probably knew who would like fly in a week later to go on tour and who was free enough. And I've always tried to keep my life uh very open for touring, and so I was like probably one of the few people who was like, yeah, I could do it in a week. And also, like I said, I had like 3 months ahead of me that was just completely open. And anyway, I in the beginning it was super kind of like normal tours. Our first show was a house party in New Orleans, and there's like 20 people there or something, and that was the first tour I did with them. So it was very DIY, normal, like how I would do with Francie Moon stuff. And then I think the next tour we did, we opened for the band Bodega. I don't know if you know them. And yeah, that was kind of like a little step up, but like some places it was super DIY, and other places like, oh, there's people here. Oh my gosh. Like wow. And I had no idea, honestly, admittedly, I had no idea who they were at all. I had no idea that they were like touring to Europe and doing all this stuff. No clue. I just showed up like, what's up? Like that was after my Mexico trip. Now that was like I came home, went straight on tour with Bodega, and they were just lovely people, super good at poker. Then Ben's good at poker, the singer. But anyway, so the point is, all those beginning tours were pretty normal feeling, and it wasn't until literally 2021 when we went on tour with Idols that was like, whoa, okay, this is different now. And I mean, we had a taste of that a little bit in LA in 2020. We all lived together in a house for a month, and we just played shows. I think it was like, I don't know, somewhere between 10 to 15 shows that month, and just played music every day in this house that we all slept in together with a bunch of people. There was like at least 10 people there. And we were kind of growing a little fan base in LA while we were there, and that's where we met our label.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, then everything shut down. And then our label was in 2021. They're like, hey guys, you want to go on tour with Idols? And admittedly, I had no clue who Idols were. I'm like, I live in a hole. Like, I really live in a hole when it comes to music. I'm way more uh educated, I guess, in like current music right now than I was, because I'm in that world a lot and I tour a lot with people now. But I was blown away by Idols and those shows. They were just so special. And it was the biggest shows we ever played in our lives, like thousands of people. And I could barely sleep that whole tour. It was just like the energy was just like, like that.
Really?
So, yeah.
I mean,
So,
yeah, I mean, it was right after, COVID kind of, well, not like COVID let up. It was right after people were allowed to go do things again.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it was an extremely special time. And I hit up my friend who went to, when I saw you at the Warfield. I was like, yeah, I now know Mel, with the GUSTAF. And then she's like, oh my God, that was the band with the cool pants, right? And I was like,
uh, Fashion band. No.
yeah, Fashion Man, yeah.
We just have fun. We like colors. Well, I think me and Brom started it. We would wear like crazy patterns and stuff, and then I think everyone got into it a little bit. But yeah, crazy pants. I think Brom has the craziest pants of all. So
Yeah,
thanks, Brom.
yeah. I mean, it's stuck in her mind. It was such a fun show. I was just going through my pictures from that show too. I was like, such a good time. That's rad. I mean, I love that you don't really know who you're playing with until you get out on tour with them. That's a great way to just know bands. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I connect better with music when I see it live.
for
Like,
sure.
and that's why I love going to shows. And if people invite me and if I'm available, I'll go to a show even if I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, makes it more special that way because like I listen to like the same like five bands.
Who? Who are your
I mean,
bands?
Idols is definitely one of them right now. I
Hmm.
mean, I was just raised and born on radio rock, so it's like that's just what I kind of just like listen to, just rock and roll from that era. But then I love like I don't know, soft jazz, and I get in weird moods and I'll go down funks and I'll like find my own
Right,
thing. But
right.
yeah, generally speaking, I usually find bands by going to shows like you.
Yeah,
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 and by
yeah.
the way, you have two albums now. They're
With
both
Gustav,
no, with Francie Moon.
I guess. I don't do legit stuff with Francie Moon. I think if
It's
you look,
so good.
thank you.
Yeah, no, and I really love. I mean, what was it? Sunday. I think Sunday Morning is one of the songs that you played live. Is that? Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was like one of the coolest ones. But then I mean, you go buck wild on stage too. Like
I try. I feel like it's just I'm just having fun, you
it's
know.
awesome. Yeah,
Thank you.
and Ryan on drums too. Like seriously perfect. Like so,
Yeah.
kind of going from there. I mean, we got to mention like so you've talked to Jon Beavis.
Yes,
Yeah,
John.
he was one of my favorite drummers uh
Yeah.
from Idols, and we're going back to this now. And he's that he kind of made friends with him, but what about his drum playing or getting to see it like every night? What kind of stuck out to you? Anything that he kind of gave you any wisdom about? Anything stick out?
Yes. He was just awesome in general because I think his mindset is just really, really good. Like he is just so positive. Like he's just a super positive person. And also he went to school for drums for like ever. Um, so he's just really, really good. I'm not sure. Did you read the interview that I did with him? I
Yeah,
think I sent it to you.
yeah,
Yeah. So as you saw, they have rules for him in the band. Like when they're recording an album, he only does two takes, maybe three, I think. And usually it's the first take that's the good take. Like he's just so rock solid. It's amazing to me. And I just really appreciated that rock solidness about him. Um, I don't know. He let me play his drums one time, or maybe it was him, or maybe it was his drum tech who did,
somebody.
Johan. Yeah, and it was like the way his drums were set up, the way the sticks were. I think he used like 5 Bs or something. It was like the most powerful feeling of my life. I was like, whoa, and everything was like so bouncy, but so
Yeah,
heavy at the same time. So he kept telling me that I was gonna play bigger sticks soon. He was like, "You're gonna go up. You're gonna get bigger sticks." Like, so that was like his main piece of advice.
did you?
No, but I keep thinking about him. Like, I should. I just haven't. Um,
Like it's a hard thing to do. Just like
yeah, I don't know. I gotta practice more with the other sticks, you know. But then when I sit down to play, I'm like, ah, it feels weird. So
it's fair.
yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I mean, just in general, he was just a great energy to be around. He's like the happiest idol, I think.
Really,
Yeah, definitely. He is just bubbly and goofy, and you see him, he's like, "How you doing?" And he's just having like a good old time on tour. And I think
like
it
happy to
just
be there.
translates. Yeah, and I think when he when he plays, it's just I don't even think I saw him mess up like once. Like his arm was killing him on that tour too. I remember his shoulder was weird, and like he was just so positive about it the whole time. He would just start playing with his left and just be like stretching his arm, and then just like just crazy. I
Yeah,
don't know that guy. I don't. He's just like one of those uh most solid people, freak of nature kind of. I don't know.
he's an enigma. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
he is rock solid. It is really interesting that such a like music school dude ended up in a band like that.
Yeah, because he doesn't even listen to music like that. He listens to really nice music. Actually, one thing everyone always said about him was that he was the most what's the word? Uh I guess wholesome. It's not the right word I'm thinking of, but like his parents were amazing. His upbringing was amazing. Everything was just, and then he was like, I want to do music. And then he ends up in this like super successful band. Like everything for him was just like, woo, like
Yeah,
straight up.
golden boy.
And yeah, yeah. And everyone was always, all the other idols were like, oh, John's so wholesome. He's got it so good. He's so happy. Look at him.
I just imagine like Joe Talbot just being like, because I mean they are like kind of polar opposites as far as like what I've seen of them, you know.
Hmm.
Like Joe's not like a technically trained, and like honestly, the most endearing parts about him are like the fact that his voice like does crack on
Yeah,
stage, and like he
definitely.
just like sings out a key, but it's like it just feels so like real. And it's coming from somewhere like deep.
Yeah.
But it's with juxtaposition to a guy who literally never messes up.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's just like, I don't know. John's such the like a foundation for that band just to
Yeah,
like be themselves on top of. Like I couldn't imagine being in a band with him and having like that power behind you. It's like, yeah, he's like the secret sauce, I think,
for
in a
sure.
lot of ways. I
Yeah,
just remembered the word I was thinking of, well adjusted. They always said John's the most well adjusted guy in the band.
that's cute.
Yeah.
You have any fun stories about any of that touring? Any thing pop out? Any
Oh,
special evenings?
yeah, one time we would like we got along so well, our bands, that we would meet up on days off, and um it was intense because they were in a tour bus and we were in a van. And I don't know if you've ever experienced the chasing the tour bus experience. So they get to sleep whenever they want and they get to wake up in the new city, but we have to go to sleep and then drive the like 9 hours. And also the tour bus tours, they're always planned with really long drives because it's not it's not an obstacle for the tour bus to to do that overnight. There's like no time crunch, so chasing that in a van is really intense. But one time we met up, I forget where it was exactly or what state, but we went to a casino, and Jeremy, their monitors guy, who's actually helping me record my next Francie Moon album right now, um he was just like having so much fun. He gave me a bunch of chips to play blackjack with. And we all just went crazy on the blackjack table. I won his money back. But that night was like crazy fun. We're all just I think we all went down a like a lazy, what do you call those? Lazy river
Mhm.
in tubes, like all of us idols, GUSTAF, we're all just like tubing around for like hours in the sun and then going to the casino. And it was just like a great day
Oh, wow.
off. Yeah,
That's pretty
super
cool.
fun. Yeah,
I won money. My first time going to a casino, I won money playing blackjack. I was 18. And then I was
nice.
like, I think I figured it out. And I brought all my friends, my dumb 18-year-old friends, back to the casino, and we all lost our money. And I learned my lesson right there. Is like the worst thing that can happen is like, you win. But sounds like you got lucky and it was fun.
Yeah, I usually when I do it by myself, I give myself a $20 limit and that's it. Because I'm
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I used to do five and then I was like, that's not enough. So I graduated 20, but I think Jeremy gave me like $50 in chips and then I got it back and I was really proud of myself because I was like, I don't want to lose this guy's money.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I love that you were mentioning Ben from Bodega, right? Also like
Hmm.
poker. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
You like playing poker? Sick.
Yeah, we played with Ben at Lydia's parents' house. Lydia's the singer in GUSTAF. And Ben was good, but honestly, Tara, the percussionist who played the other day, uh, with me and Francie Moon, and she plays in GUSTAF, um,
Oh, gotcha.
she was like killing it at poker that night. She won so much. It wasn't real money. We were like playing with, I don't know, acorns or something stupid.
Yeah.
She won so much. She kept winning all of it. And then she had to, like, we couldn't play anymore. So she just gave it back to us and we just keep playing and she kept winning. So
Damn, she
we had
killed it.
fun.
She
Hmm.
she was great too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
okay, that makes
She's a
sense.
shredder. She's a secret shredder. She has a band called Tea Eater
T.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tea Yeah, I play drums with her too. I forgot to mention that. But Yeah, she's a shredder.
I knew
And
there was more.
what's that?
I knew there was more.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's too many things
What
going
city are
on.
you mostly based out of now? Like where are you doing most of your stuff and recording and whatnot?
What area did you
Yeah,
say? Oh, I do mostly everything. I go to Brooklyn to do it. If I'm doing anything official, it's in Brooklyn.
gotcha,
But yeah, I record a lot of demos and stuff at my house. I'm out in like PA right now.
gotcha.
So, yeah, but I'm recording my next Francie Moon album in Brooklyn, so I drive in and do all that.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we gotta hang out, buy buy you some poker chips or something like that. Because Jay-Z's gonna be opening up a casino
In New York.
in Hell's Kitchen.
No. Jay-Z.
It's gonna be the dumbest place. Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's gonna be so dumb. I think it's gonna be at
Yeah.
like 43rd and 8th too. It's like
Whoa.
right, like in it.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, yeah. Going what so I guess what's your plan for the new album? I know we're just going all over the place right
That's
now.
fine. I know I have so much going on that there's so much to talk about and random,
Segue.
pockets of ideas. I really don't care. It's actually nice to not just be focusing on one band because sometimes when I talk to someone, it's like I have to just pretend, oh, I'm just a guitar player. And this kind of feels like a more overall.
It all kind of weaves into each other too. Like
Yeah,
it's you're playing with members of different bands and different projects, and
right.
like one thing leads to another, usually in the music industry. So,
Yeah. So this new album, I'm just taking my time with it
mhm.
because I'm so busy with Gustav. I was able to relieve a lot of pressure off of Francie Moon and just let myself take time, make a nice album. I'm excited about this album. It's been taking longer than I was hoping because Jeremy is back on tour with Idols, like a lot, uh, doing monitors, and I refuse to mix via email because it's like my own personal hell, sending like mixing notes on email and then like turn that up, no, turn that down, and then a week later, can you turn it down? Oh, could you? It's just like
Oh,
I'd rather just sit in the room with someone. So I've been respecting that about myself and just meeting up with Jeremy like whenever he's home. But it's almost all done. And my plan is to just do the best I can getting it out there, whether that's with working with like a label. Usually I work with DIY labels. And I might do that again, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like I want to see if anything natural happens with anything
what
differently this time.
when you're if you are just I guess hypothetically because I don't know how it's actually going to go, but like if you were to work with a DIY label, what does that entail? Does that mean like are you looking more for like a advance on getting it mixed and like the money for that, or working with like just what does that mean for you?
Yeah, no,
It can
that'd
mean
be
so many
great.
things.
That'd be great, but I tried that route last year before I started recording the album. I
Mhm.
reached out to a bunch of labels. I was like, "Hey, can you help like pay for this in advance?" And they were like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." So I saved money and I busted my butt a little bit and I yeah. What usually when I work with a DIY label, I split the cost. Like the last record I did, I did it with Half Shell Records and Sifter Grim Records in Seattle. And then I was the other third, and we all just split it three ways. And usually I just split it two ways with a DIY label. Um, so yeah, that's my usual go-to, but I'd also love to work with a label that has a little more reach or someone who could just be like, don't worry, I got this, like I'll send this out to I don't know, some other country somewhere, like a distribution type situation, or someone who's like, I could get this on a playlist because that's just how you get out there more, I guess. I don't really know. But my plan this is the first time I ever am making an actual uh real album with a real studio setup. Like the last albums that I did, I'm really grateful. It was with my old drummer Richie. He recorded it all on a cassette recorder, a Tascam 16 track cassette recorder, and we spent months and years like fine tuning and trying to make it sound legit, but it was really a lot of work and frustrating. And but he went to school a little bit for recording and I did not. So we're just, figuring it out, sometimes Googling like how to do this on Logic or whatever. All this. And I told Richie, I was like, I'm not doing this ever again because it's way too stressful. And that's why I asked Jeremy to do it because he makes records all year, every year for the past like 20 years. So I wanted to just have it be like a calm experience where I could just make the best sounding record ever where I don't have to think about like technical stuff so much. Like Jeremy could just, oh, there's a weird sound. Oh, I know exactly how to get it out of there instead of like a month of being like, oh, that frequency, it's annoying, but I guess we have to live with it now, like so yeah, this was my first attempt to make like a legit studio album and I'm really excited about it because
Super cool.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love. I had no idea that. I mean, you're like the Fancy Moon stuff does sound DIY for sure, but it's like it still has like this really like authentic sounding great. I thought you did record it in a studio. Like,
No, we recorded the last one in a freaking like old stable turned into a barn practice space. Um yeah, just I basically run Francie Moon on like a $0 budget for my whole life. So everything is super DIY and um yeah, and I've tried really, really hard to make it not sound super, super DIY, even though I like the sound. Like some of my old demos, I don't know if you've found my Bandcamp or anything. It's like it's fuzzy, it's dirty, it's crazy. There's like keyboard drums on it. Like it's crazy, but I always liked the way that sounded too. So I'm not against DIY. I just wanted to take a different approach and like really respect uh the musicians that I'm playing with and the music that freaking came to me, from the universe or whatever, and just make it sound really, really good and make it sound like something that people can understand because a lot of people can't understand DIY music for some reason.
what's the mix engineer's name again?
Jeremy Snyder.
Oh,
You,
yeah,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
We've talked about this guy, right?
maybe. I don't remember. He did some amazing records. He plays for well, his band is called Pure Adult and they're awesome. Um, they've been doing a lot of awesome shows.
I'm tripping out. Okay, it must have been something. I think it was with the Mystery Lights because I just had them on the show.
Oh, maybe. He works with so many people in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like,
you've
wait, I was like, I
definitely heard
know
of
this
him.
name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's great. He did Echo Astral's last record.
Okay.
Um, which I don't know. I keep hearing bits and pieces. Every time I go to mix with him, it's like, "Hey, check out this
Does he have a
record."
studio that he likes to promote, or is he like a secretive sort of?
No, no, he's working out of well, I worked with him at La Femme Studios. Um, that studio is awesome. My friends run that studio, and that's where I recorded with him. And then we were mixing in his bedroom at his house. So, yeah.
Well, I have to ask now, how the hell did you get into music? Like, where, why?
uh,
Like,
like
go way
music in
back.
general, or like
Yeah, when did you
music
start? When did
as
you?
a path.
Yeah, when did you just start making? When did you start playing stuff? Was it drums first? Was it guitar, singing? Who got you
Okay.
into it? How did you get into it?
I grew up in a pretty musical family. And I grew up going to church and singing at church. And I grew up with My mom singing a lot. My mom's obsessed with the Allman Brothers, Sweet Melissa. That's what I'm named after. My sister's name is Jessica. She's named after that song. So my mom is like big music fan. She taught us, me and my sister, she taught us keyboard when we were really little. She started us when we were like 4 or 5, reading little notes. And then I started playing clarinet in school band because my oldest sister played clarinet, and I was like, cool. So I did that. And then when I was around 10, the middle sister, she wanted to learn how to play drums really bad, but she didn't want to go alone to the drum lessons. So she asked me to come with her. So we learned from a guy named Jon Malay, who was a really awesome blues drummer. And he really exposed me and my sister to blues and, some like jazzy type stuff. But he would just always that feeling of like, oh, music. Like that was the first time I was exposed to that, like, do you feel it in your gut? Like, do you feel it? That like, and just like he would sit there and play bass with us and be like, what's the beat? Like, tell us what the beat is. And, he taught us rudiments and how to read drum beats off of a page. And he was an awesome teacher.
Well,
And but
that's super cool. Yeah, no, I can feel that. You know.
yeah, he was this big, tall guy, and he'd just be like, "This part gets really hairy." He'd make us sit and watch videos of guys doing drum solos for like an hour. He would just like one day a lesson would just be us watching this drum solo and being like, "What's going on there? What do you see there?" He'd just be in the corner like, "Oh yeah," like you feel that. So that was crazy cool because like I didn't understand it at the time so much because like I was like, "This is." I didn't like feel it yet, but it was seeping in.
How
Um,
old were you?
I was like 10. Yeah. And then for a few years, my mom bought me and my sister a drum set that year for Christmas after we started drum lessons. And we lived in an apartment building, which just shows how awesome my mom is and supportive, like that she would buy us a drum set while we live in an apartment building. Like, who does that? My mom does that, apparently. So, I'd just be jamming the drums all the time. And then my sister, the middle sister who played drums, she went off to college and she left the drum set at home. And then I was the youngest sister, so I was left alone at home with the drum set. So I went kind of crazy for a few years with the drum set. And then one fateful day, my sister's boyfriend, who was still at home, he me and him became like buddies because we were like lonely because my sister was off at college. Uh he sat me down and he put on Led Zeppelin, The Song Remains the Same DVD or video or VHS, and he said, just watch this. And I think I was like 13 or something. And I just looked at the video and at first I was like, what the heck is this? Like, this is just so weird. What is this? Like, I'm looking at Robert Plant just and like Jimmy Page with these like, whatever, crazy dragon pants. And but like after 20 minutes, I remember I was just like, something in my brain just flipped and I was completely sucked in, hypnotized by this music. Just it changed me, And he looked at me and he goes, "There you go." And then he just shuts the door, leaves, and I just watched for like however long that DVD is, like 2 hours or something. And I just was like staring at this music. And that moment, I was like, I want to play guitar. Like, I want to play guitar so bad. And that was the moment where I was like, wow, that is awesome. And so yeah, I went and I started playing guitar thanks to my friend who lent me his guitar, my friend Jason. And yeah, I became totally obsessed with guitar. And the my last part of this story is one day I was working for my mom. I was obsessed with guitar, whatever. And like next to her office, these guys pull up in a van. This van pulls up, and these like scraggly looking, rocker dudes pull out of the van, and they start loading gear into this barn. And I'm just watching them like out the window. I'm like, what the heck are these guys doing? And they just load in all this gear, drums, amps, whatever. And then they just start playing this awesome music from the barn. And then that moment I was like, I want to be in a band. And that was so me and my best friend Nicole, we were learning guitar at the same time together, and we were like, let's do a band, let's make a band. And then after our first show of playing in a band, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So this is a lot, but
Oh, that's great. It's
yeah,
vivid. What was the first band called?
Grundy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like punk blues,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, it was a psychedelic punk blues, I'd call it.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love that you were kind of just like by immersion, like if that was how you came into it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like for me it was just like so much of like it was almost like kind of expected. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I loved it, but I always from the first day I had a drum set, I always was in some sort of band. But
Wow.
uh, yeah, it's so interesting. I love that you were just it was kind of like a slow burn thing for you. But
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I guess what was your plans for music once you started actually like I don't know once you started falling in love with like playing shows and stuff like that? What kind of happened? When did you move around? What sort of bands were you playing in? What were you doing?
Yeah. So Grundy, that was my high school band.
Hmm.
We played a lot in the area I grew up in, upstate New York, New Jersey, whatever. We just wanted to play. I think we played like once a month, which was like, whoa for us. I remember, the week or two before a show, I'd just be like, oh, it's coming. The show's coming. I was so excited. Um, yeah, and they were great shows too. That was like pre Facebook events, pre Instagram, pre like, I wonder how many people will be there. Like, it was just, we knew it was going to be the best day of our lives. Every time you woke up on a show day, it was like, this is the best day of my life. Um, so we went pretty hard for like a couple years. And then, after high school, the drummer and the bass player couldn't play as much because the bass player moved to New York City to do art school. And so me and my best friend Nicole, she was the singer of that band, the singer and the other guitar player. Um, we were like, let's do our own thing, man. Like, we're here, we have so much time. Let's do our own thing. So we started our own band, which had a name change. I'm kind of embarrassed of the first name, so I'm just gonna tell you the second name, which was the Dirty Birds.
Yeah.
And it was me, Nicole, and her boyfriend, now husband, James, on drums. So it was two guitars and one drum set. And we played a lot, and we both quit college to play music together.
Oh,
Yeah, we were like, let's do rock and roll. Like, that's what we want to do. And
where were you going
that
to
was
college?
just community. We both were going to community college.
I've got a
And
college rock and roll.
what's that? What?
Dropped out of community. Nothing more rock and roll than dropping out of community college.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, it was kind of like, hey, if we're gonna do this, let's do this. And so I booked a million shows off of Craigslist, like the worst shows ever off of Craigslist. And I just booked and booked and booked and booked and booked. And yeah, I kind of like killed my friends with booking too many bad shows on Craigslist because they're like, we dropped out of school for these terrible shows. And I was like, hey, at least I'm getting shows. So yeah, that was fun, I guess.
But
We decide
you were booking shows off of Craigslist?
off of Craigslist. Yeah, you go
How did
to
you mean? How did
I would go on gigs underneath gigs and it would be like events and they'd be like seeking band for blah blah blah. Like I got the craziest shows off of Craigslist. And then all the like I don't know if you've ever run into these yet because you're not from New York, but there's all these like scammy bookers who would send you there was this guy Lee Sobel and he'd just send a list of like 1,000 dates that were open at like the worst bars ever at the worst times. And they would be on Craigslist too. Like, hit me up if you want to play New York City. And I just book like a Wednesday at 7 p.m. and we drive in and play for nobody and leave. And I hit a couple good things though. One time I booked this at a high school volleyball tournament to like pump up the players. And there was like, tons of people there. And then I think the last show that like really annoyed everyone because they were like asking off of work all the time, but I just told my job like, yeah, I can't play the weekends. I have to play rock and roll. So like I never had to ask off of work, but they were always asking off and their bosses were getting pissed. So when they were asking off for like the worst show ever, they were kind of getting annoyed. So fair, super fair. I totally get it. Um, so anyway, I booked a extremely rigged Battle of the Bands, and that was like the last straw. And everyone was like, "I can't do this anymore." And like, we would rather be friends instead of me just like pushing everyone, being like, "We gotta play, we gotta play, we gotta play." So they set me free. They were like, Mel, go do your own thing. Like, you're obviously like way more into this than we are. And I was like, you're right. I'm like so intense about this. Um, so that is when I met my ex-bandmate Paul at a record store show, and he met my intensity with booking. And yeah, we ended up doing a duo called Melissa and Paul. And he was actually in a scene. Like he had a band previously and he had people coming to shows and he was like booking us into these shows where people were actually friends and playing together. And it was my first taste of like a music community. So that was awesome. But we dated and it ended bad. Dun dun dun. But that was my first taste of like a band actually going, and I went on tour with that band and we had dreams as a band. We were like, you know, we want to tour the West Coast. We want to do a month-long tour. We did that. We did that. And so I was able to actually like accomplish dreams and that was really, really cool. And then after that I went solo. I went FRANCIE MOON and basically I've been going that route ever since. Just pushing, 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 uphill, uphill, uphill.
Oh man, that was great.
Oh,
That was fun. I don't want
good.
that. I don't want it to end.
Well, I could keep. I could tell you more about my journey with FRANCIE MOON
Yeah,
because
please.
it's pretty crazy. So after Melissa and Paul, I did have a brief time of being just Melissa Lucciola, and I realized how annoying my last name is for people to like remember or spell.
I looked it up right before. I was like, how to pronounce, and some guy on YouTube, and that was not how I pronounced it.
No, it's wrong. Yeah, it's totally wrong.
It's
Yeah.
also it means firefly, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Italian. Yeah. So, no, I know the correct is like Lucciola, but my family never said it like that. So I grew up as a child, but I know it's wrong. And that's another reason why I'm like, I can't go around saying this is my name and it's like wrong. So, um,
Whatever. It's your name.
yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. But yeah, no, I know I totally say it wrong. Shh. No one needs to know, but this whole podcast.
Except everybody listening.
Yeah. But anyway, I decided to do FRANCIE MOON because I was like, I have so many talented friends. It's disgusting how talented they are. They're so good. My best friend, Nicole, who I mentioned, insane songwriter. Best, like, seriously, she's the reason I started writing songs because she one day was like, "Hey, check this out. I wrote a song." And I was like what? Like you can just do that whenever you want. And she just and then I was like, "Whoa, maybe I could do that too." So these people around me are like so talented, but they didn't have that thing inside of them that I do, the intensity that's like, let's go, let's go, let's go play a million shows. So I went solo with Francie Moon because I was like, you know what? No one else is gonna do this that I know right now. No one's gonna like blaze a trail and do this crazy stuff and sleep on floors and like be poor and like do all this stupid, booking for months and all the things that are hard, but to me they've just seemed easy because it was a part of the whole thing. Like it never bothered me that much, those things. I just felt like, oh yeah, that's what it is. Um, but I decided that I wanted to do it on my own because I will blaze a trail so that one day I could bring my friends easily so they can just show up at the easy part and I'd be like, "Hey, all right, I did it. Come with me. Here's a stage, here's people, here's money, here's, like that was my whole intention behind doing it by myself was like, okay, I'm willing to do this, so I'm going to do this for other people." And basically that's what I've been working on this whole time. I was finally able to actually do that because last year, thanks to Tea Eater and Yard Act, I was able to play Francie Moon at Warsaw, opening for like a big crowd for the first time. And I brought all my best friends on stage with me. And that was like, okay, I could die happy now. I did it. I brought them out on a big stage in front of a full crowd. And thanks to Willie Nelson for the on stage or on the road program. And Warsaw's like a
Yeah.
Live Nation, whatever. I know Live Nation sucks, but that show, Willie Nelson and Live Nation gave us like 1,700 extra dollars for playing that show. So I was able to like hook everyone up with like hundreds of dollars to play that show. And it was just like a dream come true. I was like, here's money, here's people, here are my best friends. People look at my best friends. Thank you. Okay.
Good
I'm
night.
like, mission complete. Took like 15 years, but mission complete.
Nice.
So, um, basically, Francie Moon started as a super solo project. Like I played acoustic guitar all over the country. I did circles with my friend. I would tour with my friend Matt Plus. He's still doing acoustic circles all around the country. We would book like 4 month long tours and just go and play living rooms, coffee shops, whatever. And I did that for like 2 years, just all around everywhere. And then I think by the third year I started doing like duo sets with a drummer, and I'd play and then have a drummer play with me, and then I would play their songs on drums. We'd switch, so we'd be like two bands on tour. And yeah, and then I was finally like ready for a band. So that's a little peek into the journey of the Francie Moon world. But it started super, super solo just to be like, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, I don't want to have to wait for anybody else. That's the whole big thing. That makes sense. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of me is like, oh, that was silly. Like I wish I did have I'm kind of jealous of those bands that are like a band and they do everything together and they're all like going hard together, but that's really hard to find.
Well,
It's
it's
just
it's a
hard.
perfect storm. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm playing with my best friends. We first started playing together when we were 12, and I've been doing the music thing for like a long time. In and out of a bunch of bands, mostly in California. But they're like getting back into it, but it's so fun to do with my best friends. Like
Yeah.
it's the and like we're just they're kind of like catching back up, and we're hopefully gonna be playing shows soon. But having everybody on the same page, like for example, like Idols,
Yeah.
those guys just seem like they're in it all together. It's like a community thing. All the songs are written together and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a perfect storm because most people's lives are just so different, even if they are your best friends and you want to do the things together.
Yeah. Especially like the older you get too, they're more like, oh, they have like a dog and so they have to go home like to take care of the dog. And you're like, okay, I
I was
guess
getting so
well we have a half an hour to practice. Okay, we'll just run the set and that's it. And you know,
That's
it's
so funny. I was just talking. I was like starting to get mad at my friends. I'm like, why does everybody need a dog? Like,
I know. I know. Everyone's always like, when are you getting a dog? And I'm like, I tore way too much to get a dog. Like, I don't want to have someone like watch my dog every time I leave. Like, I leave all the time, you know?
well, just like you, it's like I do freelance stuff, like I and or whatever. I have like random jobs and stuff like that, but it's just purely so if somebody was like, "Hey, can you leave and do this thing tomorrow?" I for sure can. Like that's how my
Yeah.
whole life is set up, which is funny
Yeah.
because like oftentimes that's not, it's mostly just me struggling for money. Uh,
Yeah. 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 I know. Well, yeah, it too. It's like a dog. It's another mouth to feed.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. And dog food's not cheap. Anyway,
No.
not dogs are great.
Yeah.
Not
I
talk.
know I love dogs. I just watched my sister's dog last week and then I was like, I should get a dog. And I was like, shut up. Shut up, brain.
Yeah, maybe give it like 30 years, you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I know. And then, well, maybe a cat first. 'Cause they're easier,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know. Who knows? I'm doing good with my two tiny plants over there. Like gonna be
Nice.
gone for 9 days, and I'm like, who's gonna water you?
Yeah, yeah.
But I
You can get one of those like plant bulb things. I think you put water in the bulbs and then it like
that's
lets
so
water out.
smart. I've had these plants for like a year and a half now, and I'm since ever since I moved here to New York, and I'm just like so proud that they're not dead. But honestly, they're looking a little rough right now. I think it's
Oh
because
no.
heat. But
Yeah. Did they get
what
sun? It looks like you're in like a basement.
I am in a basement, but actually I'm looking at my room. It's right over there.
Oh, okay.
Just two windows. It's like garden level. I've heard
Okay, okay,
somebody
okay.
describe it. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
We have a
Good.
backyard and stuff. Very lucky. This is like the biggest place I've ever lived at. And it's in Brooklyn, which is wild.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know. I got very lucky with some stuff. Anyway, let's
Of
talk let's thank you so much for doing this. Let's yeah,
course.
let's wrap this up. Let's get this on a nice outro. Well,
Okay.
I guess we'll talk about what you're gonna be doing. You're going on tour, Gustav. From looks like starting the end. What is that? Like next week? No, 7 days from
Yeah. Yeah.
now. Savannah, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna be going all around the U.S. North Carolina, Georgia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, blah 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 blah, and then you're going overseas.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys are wrapping up in November, but
Pretty much. Yeah, we have
there's a little bit of like break in there.
there is a break and then October I'm gonna be playing overseas again with theater.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be gone very long time except September, which I'm excited about. I'm ready to be on the road
Yeah.
again.
Do you
Yeah.
how do you feel about being on the road in general? Because we did talk about this in person a little bit, but yeah,
I,
but you still have that love hate relationship. Are you still just as gung ho about it, or is it like it's your job now?
um eh, a little mix, I guess, of all of them. I like being on the road. I feel uh there's a part of me that like calms down, like the part that's like worried about house stuff and car stuff and I don't have to think about that so much um when I'm on the road, especially with Gustav. Gustav, my life is really cushy with Gustav, to be honest. I'm just the drummer, so like I I can involve myself as much as I'd like with decisions, but I really don't have to if I don't want to. So if I'm like really tired, I could just like sleep in the back of the car all day and like everyone will take care of everything, which is just really lucky. Yeah.
Right.
Because Francie Moon is the opposite. It's like I'm in charge of everything, every decision, every thought. So sometimes I take advantage of that. And Gustav, I'm like, I'm just gonna like turn my brain off and just like sleep. And especially drumming, it takes a lot out of me. So I like to rest as much as possible too. But I like being on the road. I like seeing new places. I love traveling. Um the stuff I don't like about it is I don't know, just I miss my boyfriend a lot when I'm not around. And I'm always having to like find ways to get in touch with him or call him. So it's like I'm on the secret mission all the time, kind of to like keep my relationships together. Yeah, I've noticed over the years touring, it's kind you just kind of turn into this like perpetual touring person in everyone's mind. Even if you're home for like 4 months, everyone just thinks you're on tour because you're always on tour. They're like, "How's tour?" You see them, and the only question they ever ask if you don't see someone for a long time is how's tour? How was tour? How's the last tour? You just got back from tour, didn't you? And you're like, no, I've been home and like no one thinks I'm here. So sometimes you don't get invited to things because you're just like gone all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've noticed over the years it's like I'm just kind of like, you know, my close friends, that's like my close people, but everyone else kind of like fell off, which is a little sad part of touring. But the biggest thing with touring is you always miss someone somewhere because you make friends all over the place and sometimes you connect like really well with them. But yeah, and it for me it's not the same to like talk to someone on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. I don't mind doing podcast for whatever reason, but like picking up the phone, calling someone, and just like I'll avoid it for like weeks, even if they're like someone I really want to talk to. It's just a thing. And yeah, it's just a thing. I'm not one of those people who's like, let me just call him. Like when you're texting, I'm not like, I'll just call unless it's like literally my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
So what?
that's so funny. Yeah, I know people like that where it's like I'll be texting somebody and they'll just like call me because I'm like nah, I don't want
Yeah.
that. I don't want to like
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
I
I
just
can
stop
do
texting
this.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm an adult. Like I can do this, but I just don't like it sometimes. So I've noticed that there's always someone to miss. And your life is so scattered across the world. Your friends are over there, your friends are over there. Not that I have a zillion friends everywhere, but like it just feels like everything's like it's not simple. Like sometimes I'm like, I wish I just had a simple life where, I was just sitting in my house and I see my neighbor and that's like the person I saw that day and that's all I have to think about. And like, like I just want to be like,
1950s like white picket thing. Like yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
no,
don't think anything happens like
yeah,
that.
I just mean like, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot recently about like, how can I simplify my life? Because it's, as you heard, I'm in like four bands and traveling all over the place, and it's just a lot. And sometimes I want to just be home for like a month straight and just like not have to think about posting on social media or whatever. Like but anyway, that's besides the point. There was one more thing I wanted to say about touring. Um, I forget, but I like it. I do like when I'm the second I'm on tour, I'm pretty like energized and it's kind of feels like I'm in my environment in a lot of ways. And just being in a venue, even if it's dirtier the better. I'm like, yeah, this is the spot. Like I'm here in this weird place and you get to see new places and meet new people. And the thing that bothers me the most about tour and that really gets to me is not being able to play music. Like you're so busy, you don't have access to your freaking things. Like I don't have a studio set up with me. Sometimes they bring a little like interface or whatever, but like I jam on my computer, but it's not the same as having hours in your house playing for fun. Like you just don't have that luxury. And the bigger shows that Gustav plays, the less time we have because the earlier we have to be at the venues for sound check. And you're just so focused on getting food that day or getting to wherever on time and oh you got to be ready by doors and then you're chatting with people whatever um and that was the first thing I noticed that on my first tour. I was like, man, I really miss playing music because you get half hour or nowadays with Gustav like an hour and that's it. And I play so many different instruments and I sing and so I'm not just like, oh yeah, this is a dream come true. I get to play drums every day because I want to play guitar too. I'm selfish in that way. Like I want more. I want it all. Like I want to play everything. I want to write a song. I'm a songwriter. Like I want to sing. There's no room for that when you're on tour, which is just insane. So I get really good at drums, which is very exciting, but there's all these other aspects of me that are like, but what about me?
Yeah.
And even when I'm playing guitar on a tour, I'm not playing enough guitar on tour. Like it's like here's your half hour, like that's it. And it just feels so backwards. So I'm like, but I think bands that tour with buses, even though it's like incredibly expensive, um, they might have more time for that, I guess, because they show up at 11 a.m., but maybe they don't have the space for that, you know? I'm a very introverted musician. Like, I like to create by myself. I need, a little space kind of thing too. So that's probably part of it. But, yeah, just the way our touring schedule is, it's like there's like no time to play music, and it's just like,
So interesting.
yeah,
Sense, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
especially if you're an introverted musician. I only really like making music around other people.
uh-huh.
I've tried making stuff by myself throughout the years. I'm just like I'm a collaborative person by nature.
That's awesome.
I yeah, but I like I'm so jealous of people that are, like can just sit down and just write something. Uh
Really?
yeah. I mean, I've always been a drummer, more or less, but so yeah, I mean, writing beats by myself has never really tickled my fancy. I mean,
That makes sense.
I'll practice along to stuff, but I'm just starting to like write and sing a little bit with this new project. But yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. It's been interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting hearing your voice for the first time. 'Cause I record
Yeah.
every single thing I do, and it's like, oh, that's what I sound like. I'm like, I'm gonna work on that. Like Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. You'll get used to it. But I feel that. I still feel that way. Actually that show you came to the other day, I couldn't really hear myself in the monitor and I was like I heard back what it sounded like and the effects on it were just like crazy and I listened back and I was like, I can't.
I thought it was
Uh
so cool, and like
Thank you.
I was so into it, like psychedelic. It felt really psychedelic with everything.
Oh good.
Yeah, me and Michael were like right up front, and we loved it so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you.
Yeah, we
But
kept on
yeah,
talking. No, good.
what? No, just the hearing your own voice thing. It's like I think it just you do you know Sierra Farrell? Do you know that singer?
No,
She's like probably the best singer going right now. Really incredible. She said it the other day in an interview. She was like, I can't stand the sound of my voice. And her voice is like the coolest voice on the planet. So like I think it's just a thing that you just everyone just deals with.
I guess yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's it's. I think I should just take that approach. Be like, if I think it's garbage, but I still like the song, then what? I mean, I should just put it out there because who cares? Nothing really matters.
Yeah. Yep. And
And just don't
yeah,
listen to me then if you don't want to.
yeah, I know. And no one, it's funny, no one notices stuff. Like you think people notice stuff, but they don't. And even it's funny, like sometimes they would hear a song like five times. Like I know someone was at a show. I've seen them in the crowd while I'm playing a song. like 5 times in a row. And then the sixth time they'll be like, what was that new song you just played? Never heard of it. And then you realize how much people are not paying attention to anything you're doing. And you're like, oh, no one cares. No one even knows what's going on. Like,
Yeah. There was a
it's
band I was in, and we had three songs. It was the very first show we played. We had three songs. We played the first song again at the end,
and no
and
one
people,
noticed.
nobody, people came up to us afterwards. They're like, "I swear to God, I've heard that last song." Like, and we're like, "Really? Holy shit!" Like,
They're like, is that a cover?
it was three songs. We only had three, so, and it was they weren't like crazy long songs. It was
Yeah.
just so funny that
Oh
people
my God.
really did not notice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, in a sense it's like really annoying because you're like no one's paying attention, but at the same time you could be like, wow, no one's paying attention. This is amazing. Like you could do whatever you want.
Ain't that the truth? I have one question for you, but I think first we should just give what do you need to talk about? What do you need to say to the people who are listening to this? Because this will be coming out not this Monday, but the next Monday.
Okay.
On tour.
Yeah, I'm
Anything
going on
else?
tour.
Check out your
Uh yeah, check out the tunes. And I think everyone should hear that we're all creative inside. And yeah, it's fun to explore that creativity because so many times I run into people and they're like, "Oh, I wish I started doing music," or "I wish I was creative. I'm not creative." But I think everyone has, even if they're like creative in like a weird way at work, like figuring out a new way to calculate those numbers or whatever. Like, I don't know. I just want everyone to know that they do have some like a spark inside of them and that they could like just go for it, even if it's like grabbing a box of crayons and just coloring something weird. Like everyone's got something in them. And yeah, that's my big message for the world. I always want people to know that they have something too, because people like they always put themselves down in that way. And they're always like, I wish I could do something creative, or I wish I could write a song or something, or I don't know. I just think everyone's got something inside of them. And if you're out there, you're listening, you have something special in there. And
Oh,
yeah.
that was very nice of you.
Yeah.
Everybody listening, yeah, go be your creative self.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was so stoked to find you guys. Like, because I it was Vincent Black shout out, and he invited me to that show because he was playing with Bald by Choice. But when I saw you guys play, I was like, this is the kind of music that I've been like looking for in
Cool.
Brooklyn since I moved here. I
Hmm.
finally found a scene. I'm like, oh, and then also, the shows with Showbrain with the Aussie. I'm like, everybody who played at that gig, I was like, okay, here's the bands that I've been looking for. These are the kind of people that I want
Yeah.
to be in the circle of. So yeah. And it was so cool talking to you. I have one last question to ask everybody on the show this because it's important. How do you deal with imposter syndrome? What tips do you have if that is something you deal with or if you don't deal with it? How do you deal with imposter syndrome?
Oh, I've definitely dealt with imposter syndrome pretty hard with Gustav being a drummer. Like first big tour, I'm opening for Jon freaking Beavis of IDLES, one of the best drummers on the planet, and I'm just like, hey, what's
I
up?
would die. Like I would be like, I don't think I could do this. Like,
And he's just watching from the side, just smiling. No, yeah, no, he would be smiling. Um, I think the best thing, well, the thing that's helped me the most with drums is that like with that imposter syndrome is just I think I've had a little bit of an ego death with it because like I'm not playing anything complicated. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be John. I'm not trying to be Jon Beavis. Like I'm just gonna be Mel and like have the best freaking time that I could have. So I dance a lot when I'm playing. I headbang a lot when I'm playing. I'm moving around a lot. I'm just trying to find what's inside me that gets excited when I play drums and that's helped me a lot. Because I have played in front of now a lot of my like hero drummers and hero musicians, and yeah, it's easy to get in your head and be like, I don't belong here. But um I've been doing music forever now, and I always go, you're all right. Like, I okay. If someone's staring at me off to the side and I could feel it, I could feel them, like a Jon Beavis or something. I look at them, I smile, and I start rocking out with them. I go, all right, let's just rock. Like, I'm like, you feeling it? I'm feeling it. Okay, let's go. Um, so that's my little trick to like get out of my head, is like just fine. And I
You're
use a lot of,
jumping into it more. It's almost like you're like head diving harder
yeah,
rather than just like freezing up. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And it's a tricky cliff to jump over. I had Ty Siegel watching me a few months ago, and I was like, I couldn't get myself to look over because I was like, this guy is like a hero of mine. I can't look, I'm gonna mess up. I can't look, I'm gonna mess up. I can't look. And I didn't look. I did not look. So sometimes it's not a perfect art form. But imposter syndrome, I think it happens to everyone, even like the best of the best, I'm sure. And all you could do is just do your best job, and just know like, okay, this is my journey. I've learned this much stuff. This is all I know. This is what I could do, and I'm just gonna do it in my way. I don't know if that answers your question at all, but
No, that was great. That
okay.
was seriously great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody always has a different answer for that question. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Hey, it wasn't my idea. That was Michael's idea, who could not be here. Which by the way, I won't say this now. I would love to, if you ever want me back on the show, you're always welcome. If you ever want to get GUSTAF on, would love to make
Cool.
it happen. Yeah, and you've also like you're an extremely good storyteller. Like, so
Oh,
I
good.
I think in general, you were mentioning you maybe wanted to do a podcast. I highly recommend it because I could seriously listen to you talk about these stories for a long time.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Um,
good.
and thank you so much for doing this. Like, yeah, thanks for taking the time out and thanks for rescheduling. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Uh, um,
Freelance life, freelance life.
yeah,
I get it.
it's the best. Well, I'm so happy for you, and hopefully see you in Brooklyn next time you're around.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. This was super fun, and yeah, felt good to tell my story. Sometimes I don't know if I'm going all,
No, no,
sometimes I tell them like a branches of a tree, and then,
you got it all in one place now, which is I always think kind of convenient. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, well, good luck with the tour and everything, and everybody go listen to GUSTAF, FRANCIE MOON, all the other bands that you're involved
Crusaces,
in. Crusaces,
Teeter,
yep, there you go.
Pretty World.
Yeah, and good luck, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Hey, for the love of God, please subscribe to our Patreon for like $1 a month. That would help out a lot. Podcasts are, fun fact, really expensive to run, and I really enjoy doing this. So if you want to keep on seeing stuff like this, help me out. Also, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.